Hello, sweets, and welcome to the Birmingham Queerporium. I'm your host, Sam Merricks, and today I'm joined by the lovely producer of Macho Drag, I can't,
Disastrous. That's what I am. So it's fine. It's on brand.
It's on brand. Even my intro is disastrous.
I mean, I think I just bring it out in people, to be honest. So
That's twice in a row because I messed up Waishi's name last time. And hello, sweets, and welcome to the show. I am your host, Sam Merricks, and today I'm joined by the wonderful Washi.
Yes, that's me.
And I've done it again. It's a recurring theme.
Oh, why she's named it? Why she's been called some funny things in the past.
Oh, that's true. But no, I'm joined by the lovely producer of Macho Drag, D.Sasstrus Doe. How are you doing, sweet?
I'm all right, thank you. Here, pretty early in a bit of day drag, just relaxing. But yeah, we're excited for being involved in your podcast and for the projects we've got coming up.
Lovely. I love the hair as well. I see that we're matching. Totally.
Honestly, it's just to hide the roots. I've got some hella roots going on.
We love it. We love the hat, so it's fine. But no, today's topic is, of course, drag kings, because after all, you are the producer of Macho Drag. So why did you choose this topic apart from the obvious of you being a drag king?
Well, I mean, I guess it's when did I start being a drag king? And I was inspired by seeing Admiral and Oedipus Rex at Birmingham Pride event. And then I was just kind of thrown into this weird, like, massive subculture of just random people doing completely different things and calling it drag, and it not being shoehorned into femininity. And then I could basically explore anything I wanted. So comedy, live singing, craft, a bit of burlesque, but doing it in a masculine way. So that's kind of like how I started being a king. And then started doing Macho Drag UK was while we were all in lockdown, and I wanted to produce a cabaret that was featured entirely on drag kings. And we did 2 in the UK, which was really good fun last year. And now we're moving on to an international show.
No, that sounds incredible, especially because, especially in from my standpoint at least, in mainstream media, there's little to no representation of the kings at all. The only example I can think of off the top of my head is probably Landon Cider from Dragula.
Yeah, maybe Tenderoni, some people might be aware of because of the Alaska competition.
Yes.
Perhaps Hugo Girl is one of the other ones because they were in New Zealand's I can't remember the competition now. Yeah, they won that competition. So they're kind of like the main people generally mention. We're not so known on the subculture, which is a shame, really is. There are so many of us historically. So yeah. Want to see more of us.
No, as you said, it's definitely a sort of subculture that doesn't really get the spotlight as much as say drag queens, for instance. But your event for the Pride coming up May 1st and 2nd, am I right?
That's correct. Yeah, weekend event starting at 10 p.m. BST, so UK time, live on YouTube.
Love, gotta get the plug in, even though I normally ask
yeah, you've got to plug. You have to. I've been annoying so many people. I'm not even gonna lie. I was like, would you like to see a cabaret? Just kings, by the way. You've got to do it though.
No, bless you. Would you like to tell us more about the wonderful event?
Well, yeah. So basically, we're going to be putting on a digital drag show, which is going to be available entirely for free. And it's going to feature 60 performers over 2 days. So we've got it in 4 little sections with 15 each. And there are so many different styles and types of drag. It is to showcase what it is to be a drag king in this world. You can be anything. You can be gothy, you can be a crooner, you can be sexy, but there's so many different styles. And we wanted to show literally a bit of everything. And it could be a bit of a showcase of our culture. I think, yeah, that's the show. That's the ethos anyway, if you want to be gay about it.
No, that's wonderful to hear, especially because I think you've coined it the unofficial.
Yeah.
Right. So
yeah.
It's quite nice for you at least and others involved with the project to like pick like wonderful talents that don't necessarily get chosen by like the big pride events.
Exactly. I mean, even our own Birmingham Pride, they have one drag king this year, and that's a good step. But
Mm.
there are so many locally and throughout the UK that could perform on such a big stage. Even in London Pride, there's not many, and there's several organisations. There's been a bit of pushback of not including um, women in drag, not including enough BIPOC or various different minorities. And yeah, it really is becoming now a bit, we're getting to be a little bit more mainstream, just ever so slightly, a little bit at a time. But we called ourselves unofficial because we're not represented by a charity, we're not represented by an area, we don't have a committee. It's just us checking like socials and finding really talented kings and chucking them together. It's not like designed for any particular reason other than to show off what we have as talents. Yeah, and yeah, that's basically. I don't want to be all egotistical about it, like D.Sasstrus Doe's drag race. Like, nah, it's not me. Like, there's something wrong with that, but it's not me.
We're just a bit more humble.
Trying to be, yeah. I mean, with somebody who's based on looks, there is a certain level of narcissism, no matter what. But you've got to try and support other people. Otherwise, you know, you're just vapid. And I like to see communities that look after each other. So basically, and that's why kings need a little bit of support. And I'm really happy to be featured in this.
No, I'm very glad you accepted. I'm over the moon to be able to promote such a wonderful event that needs like lots of like love and attention towards.
A little bit.
But
why not?
exactly, why not? Like I know like several projects, like especially during like lockdown as well, because like the arts and like the government just don't know. Like the government just does not want to give us like any attention with like arts and stuff like that, and that falls onto like drag as well. So like I think it's incredible that I see like loads of projects, even like in my like university as well, like different like projects like dedicated to like artists that like need like funds because like they can't even afford to like continue their craft because of like the government just saying no.
With them not giving any support to very little support to self-employed people, only giving a certain amount of profits made throughout the year. And when you're a beginner creator or working from paycheck to paycheck, you're not necessarily going to have that paper trail. So you're just completely like deleted out of the conversation, like you don't exist and don't deserve support. And then the industry in general, like only so many venues have outside seating or outside capabilities. So there's so many different places that are just completely struggled. Obviously, it's necessary for the pandemic to be for safety. And it's great to see things opening up again, but it is still a complete fight to fight within the community, to fight to get gigs. And it is a fight to even be included at all. So that is it's a difficult one that everybody's having to go through. So we just be really kind and aware everybody's in the same boat, really. And it doesn't, we don't gain anything by fighting against each other. I think it's a really important thing.
Yeah, definitely. Like I mean, essentially we're in like the same boat as well because media is the very like creative like industry and like I'm like even though like campaign with like Fatima the ballerina and how she should retrain, I was just like,
that was
really
stunningly bad. Oh
I
my
was just
God.
like, I was like, who paid for that?
Yeah, people who want to consume creative media but don't want to pay people to make media. Like that's basically it, because we all relied on Netflix and podcasts and everything to entertain us during lockdown, all created by artists in some variety. And it's and we're not still not being supported. Still, can you do work for free? Can you do this? Like, all right, you can go and travel to Newcastle for nothing for a drag gig, like do it. Like some people have been asked to do shit like that, and can I swear?
Oh, you can, it's fine, don't worry.
I just wondered, like,
your face was so sweet. It's like
sorry.
It's like when you swear, like accidentally in front of your parents. That's what it reminds me.
I'm going to be, try and be professional. Try.
It's fine. I've sweared on previous episodes. It's fine.
Okay, not too bad. We like being a little bit naughty. And that is entertainment, isn't it? In a certain element, like just being cheeky. And that's what drag culture is, especially UK drag culture. To see so many different types of performers do so many different things. I mean, there's a drag circus coming up this year, and there's murder mysteries, and like literally any kind of entertainment. There's been drag wrestling. There's so much stuff that we can use our craft to say politically and personally. So yeah, I enjoy a bit of drag. It's a bit all right. I think I might stick to it.
No, bless you. Like all them things you just listed, I literally like tie in with my interests, especially drag wrestling. Like I'm a bit of a wrestling fan. I was just like, it's like, why have I not heard of this?
I mean, actually, Baron LeVay did a drag wrestling act a while ago, like literally on stage and full on tossed somebody. It was very unsafe, but so funny and amazing. Isn't wrestling like so like heterosexual like drag though? Like the narratives, the storylines.
Literally, like wrestling itself it ties in a lot to drag, I think. Like with like the pompous like attires, like the entrances and like how you come across. Yeah, like you had like Ric Flair and like that massive like feathery coat, and like you can't tell me that's not drag.
My partner's the wrestling fan, so I'm slowly getting into wrestling, and it's been on. And it's been, oh my god, why have I not seen this before? Like this is exactly like, bar the like chatty bit behind in the stage where they're like, oh, that's a bit boring to me, but everything else is like, wow. And I'm a burly kind of person. Like I don't mind a little bit of rough and tumble, so it's fun it's entertainment again. And we're all in the same boat, and it sucks. Hasn't the pandemic been a bit naff?
Just a tiny bit.
A bit mildly, yeah. Let's not even talk about the politics with Boris.
I'm just gonna sip my drink.
I mean, I did a Boris act. It's on my Instagram, which is a interesting parody. If you ever want to check it out,
I'll show it on the screen.
The question that we've got to ask ourselves is, who do you think is the biggest wanker? Which is a word I sometimes hear. Is it me? Yes.
There's a particular bit where I reference doing a little bit of naughty gesture. So whet your appetite about that. Yeah, we're very left-wing, I think, as a whole in the drag community.
Yeah, I think I've like aired my political stances before. Like I think I did it on Paul's episode, and I did it on my first episode. So it's like
put it in everyone, yeah.
Yeah, just like just remind you.
Proud lefty.
But what are we on about? We went from wrestling to Boris Johnson.
I mean, don't they just naturally go hand in hand? Wouldn't you love to see Dominic Cummings like slam Boris down?
That I would pay a great amount of money to see that.
I'm sure so many people would. I mean, that's how we're going to pay back the pandemic money, clearly.
Yeah, all the proceedings can go to the NHS because they're not going to get a pay rise anytime soon.
Oh, hell no. Just claps. Just lots of claps. Yeah, my mum was a nurse, so it's something that I obviously feel quite invested in, how much our caregivers haven't been respected as well. So you have to bear in mind, although we at the creative industry have been completely ignored, at least we haven't been worked to the bone. So, you know, I'm not going to be like, oh, drag people have had it so bad, when, you know, you have to see it in a community perspective as well. But yeah, I just hope that in the coming months we can get back to entertain people and have a good old laugh and good old giggle and make some fun stuff. Because it's so much, we need a break. Everybody does. Like, morale is low. Especially within the lower ranks of community, shall we say, the weirdos, the others. But yeah, do you have any specific questions about drag kings that you're interested in, or I just trottle on?
No, it's fine. I mean, like, to me, like, I understand it, but I'm like, for viewers at least, I'm sure like they won't as much. But I'm trying to think, like, so basically, like, struggling. Let me sip some apple juice for inspiration.
So, I mean, drag kings are just drag queens, but we, to quote Mark Antony, we tuck and then we stuff, opposed to the other way around. So yeah, just the same like drag being, but the opposite side of the coin. Drag king culture is doing whatever you want, being very counter the gender binary, especially in terms of misogyny and other cultural issues. And yeah, being a little bit masculine, being a bit daft, but then also taking the mick out of toxic masculinities, which is something that is extremely important. So although I will make some meat related jokes, or I might be a little bit crass or a bit naughty, it's never coming from a predatory kind of stance or like a nasty kind of way. So it's all lighthearted. It's a good old bit of panto. Like it's mini pantos. That's what I hope drag is anyway. Kings.
No, certainly. I like, from my point of view, I believe like it's needed, like, to have like that other side of the coin, like, especially because like it's so common in our society, like men being like on top and everything, like the straight white crusty old men.
Unfortunately.
Exactly. Unfortunately, but like it's needed because like we like people like us like feel like the same way, and like just like getting that like the expression out there just like makes us realize like, oh, we're not alone in like how we feel about that, and it gives us something to like laugh at.
Because there's so many different like people. I mean, you've got Lacey Lou in Birmingham, an
Yes.
amazing drag queen. Now, she was booked historically for a advertisement for a company, and then when they found out their gender assigned at birth, they were dropped from the platform. And that is just one microaggression. Well, it's not really a microaggression; it's a proper aggression. That happen constantly for people where they are in one minority, or even if they're in two or three. So when it comes to drag culture, it is embedded with misogyny and misogynist values. I mean, you've only got to look at the language being used by certain TV platforms of fishy and trade. It is a sexualization, and it's a commercialization of our bodies and culture, when it should be a celebration of art and the way that we explore our gender. So to have to work in those industries is sometimes challenging, and I think that's why I was more interested in making something for myself. If you don't see it, do it yourself. Like, that is the kind of way I've gone with it. But that doesn't mean I'm infallible. If there's anything that anybody thinks I can do better, I will always try and listen. It's about accountability, not cancel culture, because that doesn't help anybody. Like, it's, you know, it's pointless. But yeah, we do have to be aware of the other people around you, and even when it comes to different abilities as well. Like we always put subtitles on our shows. Like, pretty much entirely everything is going to be subtitled in the next show. I did want to try and do AD, audio description, but we didn't unfortunately get around to that because we lost half the show last week, so that wasn't fun. Yeah, I know. So this week was going to be like, I know, I'll just audio describe the show, just sit with my mic, you know, chill. But no, we had to do everything again, mostly down to my partner fixing that, because they are the brain of the show. And although I do the creative flouncy side, none of the tech, even setting up this laptop today for Zoom, would be able to happen without my partner's help, because I am terrible at technology. So a big round of applause and thank you for that. So yeah, you've got to thank the people that are behind the camera as well. I'll stop moaning. I keep going on, but
No, it's cool. Like go back to your point of like, you know, how like Lacey was.
Which one? I said loads.
But no, go like your point on Lacey Lou and like how she got drops. Like, I feel like when it comes to like a booking like point of view, they see like the one coin of drag, which is like drag race essentially.
Yeah.
And like they don't see how like there's more to it. It's like there's always like the thing of like a fan of drag race and a fan of drag.
Yeah.
Like they're so separate.
Definitely.
And it boils my blood. And I
Yeah,
imagine it was you as well.
Yeah, and then with some of the hate that you get, or some of the like just like stupid views, like it is exhausting constantly having to remind people, oh, we exist. Like, sorry, sir. By the way, kings are a thing. Literally is how it feels. On in a Facebook forum last week, I had to just say to somebody, they'd written a blog post. I was like, oh, it's a great blog post, very interesting. But consistently throughout, they were talking about how queens need to be respected as performers. And at no point was anybody else included, not non-binary people, not people who want to be not queens, or specifically anything about queens. It's quite a surface level understanding of the situation. So I just said politely, like, could you ever consider changing your language around? There's no point being an asshole about it. Because then you just get said, oh, you're being rude and I'm not going to include you even more now, which is often the excuse. If you become a loud activist, you're too loud. And then you see that with a lot of people who are blacklisted in the community by certain people, certain, as you said, crusty whites, the old boys club, who want to book the same kind of performers and the same kind of talent and do the same kind of thing because it's worked. They don't want to listen to what's actually happening in the bars and the change in culture. And then when you think about trans issues as well, certain things not being included, like RuPaul, train pride. I love that.
It comes back to haunt me in my nightmares. That
just rattlesnake noise. It's terrifying sometimes. I mean, I'm genderqueer, so I often get perceived as a woman, or even if that is a butch woman. But I have visible facial hair, like in terms of my genetics. So, you know, again, I experience some difficulties, but not nearly as much as other people. And it's important to acknowledge that. But the fact that there are those difficulties at all is horrific. But the only time I've been yelled at in drag was during Brighton Pride. Yep. And the only time I have had transphobic abuse was in a pub in Gaytown in Birmingham. So it is interesting how these people come out to try and hate in these kind of spaces. But yeah, good old joys of Gaytown, eh?
That's quite shocking. Then again, like, even though there's like prejudice in like on normal society, there's like layers of it in our own community.
Naturally, yeah.
Like you said, like naturally, there's always going to be like that kind of like hierarchy. Like, yeah, go on.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to call anybody out. It's not appropriate at this point. You know, you do have certain people who get given opportunities, and that's not because I'm jealous. I'm not particularly interested in necessarily working in those places. I'm doing my own stuff, but you do see the same kind of people in the same clubs, and it's your friends, and that's a certain element, safety and reliability. But there are so many people that deserve to have a voice amplified, especially at Pride events. And when you think about the lineup of some Pride events, essentially just making it a music festival, you're like, I'm sorry, in your headliners, where are the queer people? Is questions that you have to ask, whether it is a commercialization of our spaces, and not actually enriching them with queer people, queer voices. So yeah, it's something we try and make sure we have intersectionality in our shows, or try and represent the UK. So we're 13% by POC generally speaking in the UK. There's I can't remember the percentage of certain other minorities off the top of my head, but we just try and make sure there are people involved in the narrative. Otherwise it just becomes a white supremacist rally as well, or a cis rally, or whatever thing you are perpetuating, you need to be aware of. And you have to intersect it in every element of what you're doing, and that's just being a reasonable human being, because we're in this society we have to cope with. I'm toddling on. I feel like I'm really
No, it's fine. I don't want to interrupt you, because the points you make are like incredible, and I don't want to like step on them at all.
Like a communist, like a little like, whoa, here's my flag, like.
Rina Sawayama's Excess is playing in the background.
Oh gosh.
I've seen her in November. I can't wait. But like, yeah, like, so I can't speak. Certainly from like a commercial standpoint, what they kind of do, like, I don't want to like read like the gay village at all, but sometimes they can oof, but sometimes they can play it like safe and like book like the same sort of people, instead of like just switching it up and like see, like, just like experimenting like what works and what doesn't work.
Yeah, but there's a certain amount of visit audience as well. I mean, when you look at internet interaction, if I can just pick up one, I've looked at a couple of drag queens who've done drag king looks, and you'll see that those looks just get so many less likes in general. So that's the same performer doing the same level of art, but just a different gender, and it's just not as appreciated. So I can understand from a bar perspective that maybe your audience isn't going to want women on stage, and that sucks. So I kind of can't blame some people, if, especially in some more conservative areas, or areas where there aren't as many types of those performers around, why it's not going to be easy to integrate, unfortunately. And then especially when it comes to money being a difficult thing right now, if you can get paid to travel anywhere or do anything, it's a plus. And I've seen American performers, I only get paid $50 or $100 for a gig, and I'm like, you get paid? Like, what? That's how it feels, unfortunately.
Like, I remember why she's saying like back in the day, like she'd get like a bottle of vodka as her payment. So like, I mean, I'd still take that. I mean, like, go nice with my bottle of vodka in the background, but
I've been paid. I've taken gigs for £10 an act before. Actually, because I wanted to perform in the venue. Honestly, like getting my name out there, and I do it as a hobby. I put more money in it than I receive, especially when it comes to producing, because I do it not for profit. So it's all just money funneling in. But yeah, there isn't much going around. Obviously, you can talk about Arts Council England grants, but they're difficult applications and they're not accessible to so many people. Like, I struggle to even read through it, let alone be an actual successful applicant. Is things obviously I'm looking at in the future, but to get a venue on board is like the golden ticket, and then once you've got that, then you're again seen as the hierarchy above, and it's again not looking at people on an even playing field. So yeah, it's very difficult. And then you see a lot of people saying, oh, you're taking my performance slot, because they've always been there before. So there's a certain like hoarding element. And I can understand that as well, because there's only so many gigs and so many bars shutting down. It's a really difficult time to be a performer, especially with the drag race culture of cattiness, which I am
Yes.
not here for.
Yeah, definitely not. It's unnecessary.
Mhm.
Completely.
It's like RuPaul's personal enjoyment of seeing people argue has been fostered by reality TV producers to then filter down to then every drag performer having to be a bitch. And that's wildly separate from the culture that is actually out there on regular drag scenes. And human beings, we're not all wanting to shout at each other. I would really much prefer the kind of cheddar gorgeous perspective on drag to go viral. It's such a shame that their show was dropped by Channel 4. So I thought that was really the heart of British drag, and anybody can do drag. I don't care if you're 50 odd, I don't care if you are literally just like a budding queer person, or if you're cis or anything, like whatever gender you are, we can make you look fabulous, and get you in touch with your alter ego, and like to make you feel confident. And that's the beauty, the magic of performance and drag that I really enjoyed in that show. Can't remember what it's called off the top of my head now.
No, it's Drag SOS, I believe.
Thank you. Yes, it's completely gone out of my head.
No, I remember watching it. I really liked that show. I didn't realize it got dropped. I thought I was just waiting for another season. But as you said, like it represents like the heart of UK drag, and like I see like that show reminded me of like the people in like our own like safe spaces like here, like wherever we are as well. And I'm sure like your Pride event coming up this weekend will showcase the heart of UK drag as well.
Yeah, it's international. We've got people from all sorts of places. We've got people from New Zealand, people from Canada, people literally from so many different places. Berlin, we've got quite a few people from Berlin actually. Paris, but obviously it does tend to be like the westernized countries, unfortunately. So yeah, that's something that I want to work on in the next show perhaps. But yeah, there's 60 people from throughout the world taking a slice of British drag and trying to make it wholesome everywhere.
It's an international pie.
Yes, yeah.
I was going to say Eurovision, but I don't think Canada's in Eurovision.
No, but Australia is, so why not?
That is true. So because like they like it so much that they got into Eurovision. I'm a massive Eurovision fan.
Who isn't? Gotta love a bit of Eurovision. Like,
I can't wait for this year's.
It was such a shame about last year's, obviously, but necessary.
Yeah.
But it's nil point. I can't wait for our nil point.
Can't wait for us to be last place again.
Honestly, I'd be like, oh, the memories.
The nostalgia. But as you said, unofficial Drag King Pride.
Yeah.
Come in this weekend, May 1st and 2nd.
It is. It's rewatchable. So you can, anytime you see this podcast, anytime you want to look at some Kings, when you've got 5 minutes in your schedule, you can go and check out our shows. We have 2 shows already available on YouTube, which are UK only King shows. Got around about 70 performers in the 2 shows. And then we thought we'd go, I don't know, let's go another 60, but this time throughout the entire world. And it is going to be this weekend. So yeah, come and tune in. Come and see some King talent. We're part of royalty too.
Exactly. The royal family that we can support.
Exactly. Yes. None of that monarchy.
None of the lizard people.
I love that you used that. That's so good. Thank you so much for having me on your podcast and for letting me rant at you.
It's fine. I loved it. Got a bit political. We just dragged the royal family.
Never know what's going to happen.
Exactly. You think one thing's going to happen? No, careful. But no, thank you so much for joining me, D.Sasstrus. I hope the event goes really well. I can't wait
too.
I can't wait to say it. I bet. I can't wait to see it myself. And yeah, catch it on YouTube. I'll put the link in the description below
Thank
to the
you.
channel
Yeah.
as well. And just like you said, like they're rewatchable. So are my episodes. Gotta plug
Yay.
myself as well.
Also a little side note, I'm gonna chuck it in
God.
now because I'm gonna have to plug it. We have some merch as well. So we
Oh,
have 3
yes.
designs designed by our marketer. So all drag is valid. Yes King, and then our logo designed by my partner, which is Prince Night Moon and Born Code Productions. So all of the profits are going to the Terence Higgins Trust. Absolutely all of the money is being put to the UK HIV charity. So please support us if you can. If you've got a few pennies anywhere, get a sticker. Like, they don't have to be expensive. It's like literally £2. And it doesn't, yeah, it's all going to charity. So please support us. If you want to buy some merch, get a t-shirt, go on.
I'll be sure to have a look at the merch store after this. But no, it's an incredible cause, and I'm so glad like your profits are more or less going to a wonderful charity, of course. Right.
Yeah, thank you very much. It's Macho Man Drag, and I'm D.Sasstrus Doe. So we really appreciate you focusing on this kind of drag, and I'll stop talking now. Thank you for having me.
Keep hyping me up. It's fine. I'll just
boop, boop, boop. This is going to be Birmingham's podcast like forever. This is the best and only podcast. Like, we love it. A-star journalism.
I'm blushing now. Oh, who, me, like this?
Me.
But no, thank you so much for joining me. It's probably probably been like one of the best episodes I've filmed.
Oh, thank you. I mean, sometimes I'm personal, sometimes I'm annoying. So either side of the coin. But
No,
yeah, hopefully we can maybe have a rerun, perhaps in a bar with a beer at some point when it's safe.
Oh, I'll probably be on the floor after one beer. But
Me too. Seriously, I barely drink. Like,
I only
really gonna
socially
get me.
drink, and this lockdown's just made me sober.
Precisely, I don't either. Like, can be an ambulance if we're not careful.
But I should probably actually do like an official outro to keep going off on
I really will stop
tangents.
talking now, I promise.
But no, thank you once again to the producer, the wonderful D.Sasstrus Doe. Got it right this time.
Hey.
And I hope we can have you back on at some point as well. Fingers crossed.
A double helping. I mean, some people say it's necessary.
Exactly. But thank you once again, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode.